Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday Night at the Crib. Um, we are in the middle of VXP weekend, which has been much more enjoyable than normal, at least for people that realize that these are not suicide targets. I saw a lot of people complaining and comms and on certain forums that these were too expensive to do. And that's probably because they've changed a few things on us. Because before, everybody's strategy was, if it was a suicide haul, I'm going to build as many blank ones as you can. And they've sort of got you with that strategy because you're going to end up spending either a lot more coin or a lot more time doing your targets. But let me introduce everybody. Well, let me say again, I'm going to post the link if anybody else would like to join us. It's in your chat, and feel free to. Um, but from left to right, we got the Holshinator. Dr. Death.
Hello.
Two Doors.
Science.
And this is Heavy. And does anybody have anything quick before in case we want to start the slides?
New Hall only needs 49,000 VXP to rank.
49,000.
So it's back to how it was.
Okay. That's cool. Alrighty. Well, why is this happening here? Alrighty. Huh.
Oh right. Don't put squall launchers on your icebreakers. Don't do it.
Oh.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Why? What happens?
I don't know, and I don't want to know.
Okay, somebody's informed you of this?
Someone made a post that, oh, I don't like these new rockets, so I'm going to put squall launchers on, and I'm going to see how this goes. And everyone else is like, you should probably not do that, guy. It's bad.
I see. Was it Liam?
No.
Okay, just checking.
It wasn't a sub.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna pop the slides up there. VXP weekend starts today, runs through Monday for some of the targets. It's the same old thing. Most of it, as far as the salvages and elites. You have the 99s and the 99s and the 101s are spawning through, at least my time, Eastern time, Saturday at midnight, 9 p.m. kickside time on Saturday. So we've got 36 hours, and I'm quite interested in the Garrison targets. I haven't if you're just suiciding though, hit the 99s. You get more for dying, but the Garrison targets, if you have some weapons on there, provide a higher payout. So
If you've got a Thud 1 and you clear out the missile ships, you can run right next to the mortar ships, and you're inside their minimum range so they don't fire, and you will peck away at them with Thud 1s for 10 minutes.
okay. That is
better than just dying.
Yeah. It's better than just,
strictly speaking.
Yeah. And also you need to, let me flip to that target. Oops. That wasn't supposed to happen. Let me take myself off present here for a second and fix this. 1 second. But go ahead. I'm trying to fix that. You can't. Well, let me see if I click it. Okay. No, actually, this is what I intended to show. Let me turn my screen share back on. Screen share. There we go. But like we were talking about, this isn't a suicide target. I was able to, with just 3 hauls, get 72,000, and I know you can get more than that. I was just screwing around at first on my triple salty, and then I decided to just kill them at the end. So, but I think if you're going to suicide, you're getting about 5,000, right around 5,000 a ship.
5561 is what I got, I think.
Okay, so yeah, 5.5 thousand, as opposed to I'm getting somewhere around 24 here, and I could have got more. And then I wanted to show you a weird thing. I put one liberator in there, and I was able to get 26,000 on a liberator, even though there's no real reason, and it didn't even take half damage. So,
Is that in the 101?
yeah,
So you
Yeah.
killed the heck out of some ships then.
yeah, but I didn't take that much damage. So I was surprised. There's no reason this hull should work that well in there. But
Well, they have to get through 125,000 armor. That's a lot of armor.
yeah, so that could be the reason, because it was taking them a while for them to. I wasn't killing them that quick because they got phalanxes on those ships or some version of it. So, but let's go to the target. This is the current 101 VXP target. If you look in the bottom right, well, can they see that? Let me check, see if they can see that on YouTube. 1 second. Go to live.
No, it's a
Okay,
little
yeah,
tiny
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, but not much for them to see. If you go into a target and you're zoomed in, you'll see. Let me turn on my little laser. Well, actually, my laser won't help. See these little red dots that are off the map? There's 4 groupings of them. That means that there's ships inside of that target, and the way that you and that's where all the VXP is as far as doing damage. And so all you really need to do to trigger them, because you don't want to trigger them all the time, is hit 2 of these shipyards, and then they'll come out. A group of 2 of them will come out. Hit a couple more shipyards, and more of them will come out. And then I just quit it at that point. And you're getting a good amount of VXP just from doing that. Don't bother unless you're just interested in, because this is a potential preview of the Garrison target to see how you would do. I think all the rest of the VXP you're going to get, besides potentially maybe the torp towers, but probably not worth it, is just coming from damage that you're going to take. So that's so. And Father George joined us, I see.
What's up, everybody?
Howdy, George. So that's about it. If you stay in this, now I can turn the laser on. If you stay in, come on, laser. There we go. If you stay in this area right here, you're none of the turrets are going to fire at you, because there's a mortar here. These mortars have very long range. I think there's another mortar right here. These mortars will start to fire at you once you start get out of that corner. So I would just stay in that corner, except for when you're triggering the ships to come attack you. So, anybody else have much on this slide?
No.
It's a really big target. That's holy crap, that's a lot of mines.
Yeah, and they're set as your mines right now.
But the mines are not active in this target.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
they're
right.
set-
You can drive
There's-
right over them and they don't do anything.
There was a picture of the Zealous buffing them or something. I think I saw somewhere.
Yeah, they're set like what's the
Allied mines.
but what's the ship? The,
Artemis.
Artemis. Yeah, they're set as your mines that you're buffing them with your auras and stuff like that. So
At least for people that think this is a suicide target, if they just don't care and want to rush and see what they can do in a target, at least there are torp towers to maybe give them some benefit, but you do kind of just want to hang around the bottom corner and pull the ships out to the point where you can hit them, because the range on the ship mortars is also insane. And you pull them out and you run in and you kill them, and then you get out.
Well,
you get
yeah.
you get max VXP when you have dealt as much damage as you have armor points. So, like a Liberator hole may need to stay in there a little longer to get that maxed, whereas an Icebreaker, that's 4 rocket hits, maybe 5. So,
Yeah, and that's another thing. That's another thing that was noticed about this target. This is information for the non-coiners out there. Go in there, attack the ships. If your fleet dies, don't worry about it. Take it home. Zombie the thing. Go back in. All you got to do is get one shot off, and you're going to make about for 5 ships. You're going to make about 5,000 VXP.
and it's interesting
So-
because we didn't
you
really.
can-
Go ahead.
You can zombie. It takes a while, but you can zombie your fleets all the way up to Skull on this target.
And I know a lot of people, when they build blinks, they like to just have a Thud 1 on. And that doesn't really help here. Like, I used build tokens that I saved from the raid to throw a rocket onto mine, and it's a huge difference. It's literally 2 of mine are skulled, and 2 of mine are at 48%. Guess which 2 are skulled? So it's that important for having a weapon on there, and the rocket itself is great because you can hit multiple things as well. So you might not even need 4 shots, and then you just kind of run around, dodge their mortars for 30 seconds, back out, come back in, shoot things up and run around again.
Yeah, and it might even be worth it if you do coin. If you went with that original strategy, to coin a rocket onto each one, as opposed to keep on paying for repairs each time. I don't know that that's completely true, but it's definitely worth looking at, because if you're going to coin that stuff later, you might as well do it now and not pay for all the repairs.
If you're good enough at kiting around, it's definitely worth it, because a new rocket, even for me with an officer, is like 16 hours, 10 minutes. So that's what, 32 coins, and you're dead for 3 hours, and you'd have to suicide, what is it, 9 times to get to skull rank? So that's 27 hours repair to get to skull, or 16 hours to coin a rocket and some solid kiting. So you're saving time there.
Okay. And I put this next slide on because it's a little bit of a preview of somewhat what we expect in the Garrison, and just wanted to identify. I think I captured all the. Dr. Death mentioned earlier some gargoyles, but I don't see where they are. But because Garrison is mostly, well, let me first start off with they're breaking the Garrison rules. The definition of Garrison by GDR's post when this whole thing started is, in Garrison, the ships don't move.
Right, but they're saying, he said that it was a Garrison style or Garrison type.
Okay, well, as long as they put the word Garrison in there, that means it's Garrison, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is an assault target. I mean,
Well, except for the damage types are wrong. This is, yeah, it's
Right.
like some sort of combination.
It's creative
mess.
license. It's creative license.
Yeah, but it would be nice to get some sort of clarification if we're going to have moving ships in our raid targets.
You know what? I'm gonna bet that this is a preview of the raid target, and this is exactly why the Citadels aren't gonna work, because of those ships moving so fast coming at you.
Well, then you have a tank in your front and you have a tank in your back, and you just have, they spot for the your 2 sits and your Harlock sit while everything is coming at you.
Yeah, James is asking in chat, has anybody used subs to take these ships? And I think the only real reason to do that is either you're experimenting for a future target, or you're trying to get VXP on your subs.
I mean, I think you can. I didn't see thermal rings
Well,
on
it's-
the ships.
You know that would be
sometimes
an interesting test, though, to see if we could use subs to prep out the ships.
But sometimes the torp towers have 1,000 range.
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't really know, and
But
my subs are skulled, so I.
But I did
Funny.
see Nines going back and forth with somebody that, for some reason, I don't know why he needed it, but he decided he wanted to take these shipyards out to activate the ships that are off the map. He wanted to use subs for that, and it seems like he was successful at that point. So if he was successful doing that, I don't know how slow his ships are that he's getting hit by this mortar right here, that it's a problem. But it appeared that he was successful when he was discussing that. So,
Okay.
but the reason we have field resistance, even though they're not activated at this point, is the cryo mines that appears. Nothing else appears to be creating any sort of field. These aren't actually creating a field, but we know they do.
That's an insane amount of cryo mines, though. I will say that.
Yeah, I don't expect this to be on our side in the raid, and
But you don't really. Yeah, I guess you have to hit a fair. You know, you don't really need to hit the ones out here. You could hit 2 here, sneak through, hit 2 there, sneak through. I mean, you could probably get through the target and hit like what, 12 of them.
it's making me want to put, what is it, hydrodynamic shells or whatever.
Yeah, but no, wait. If you look at that picture, go back to that picture for a second. Pull that back up.
I think
All
we're
right.
still on.
If you look at that picture, the way those mines, no, the first one,
Okay, well, I don't know which.
The one
the
he was
white
on.
screen, it shows the whole base.
Okay, I was on that one. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So if you look at this picture, right, and you go with your theory that you want, it almost looks like they have it set up to try and force you to drive to where you don't hit that many mines, because then that puts you in a gauntlet of firepower. I mean, literally, if you come up by these shipyards and you prep out this outside island, Long Island here, before you go into the base itself, you're not getting caught in as much crossfire. But if you come up over here to the side around that small island with the executioners on it and run up so you avoid a lot of the mines, and you go into that base, you're caught in a crossfire from three different platforms. That's going to be painful.
Mine's as deterrent rather than as like actual deterrent, telling you that you shouldn't go this way, as opposed to, well, you're kind of going that way. Okay.
I think they're placed there, they're to try and force you into a channel, so you'll take more damage. You understand what I'm saying?
And we probably, I mean, I don't know if that we'll be seeing them once this goes live. I don't know.
But we'll find where they're at within a couple hours after the raid starts. If there's mines in there, we'll know where they're at. I mean, the community will figure that out.
Yeah, just enough to make you nervous, though. Because you're never sure, because there's so many of them on there. You'll never know when you're about to hit a mine. I mean, you'll know to a certain extent if you keep on running it the same way every time. But it also force people to run it the same exact way every time, because you don't want to hit a mine. But okay, I was gonna let me go back to the next slide, because I was gonna try and explain what I see as the weapon types. Okay, we have the cryo mines we just discussed. Whoops, damn it. Alrighty. We have our cold snaps that we're used to on our FM targets. We have the. Sorry, somebody walked by playing music, just probably to annoy me. We have the Halo. We have a very extremely long-range mortar here. There's only a couple of them on there. And this appears to be a short-range missile.
Yeah, but that's the turret I was talking about. That thing fires like a rocket.
You sure it's not the new rocket that we got in FM?
That's what I thought. I thought it was the Gargoyle.
No, that
Doesn't look like
the draconian rocket.
I'm not certain what it is, but it fires like a rocket. And it's got a high accuracy, because, man, it's like it doesn't have much spread, because almost every single shot from it would hit my ship.
What rocket are you talking about, George?
I'm trying to think of the damn name. We just got it in a
Oh,
TLC, I
The
think.
D99. The D99.
Yeah, that one.
The turret one.
Yeah, that one.
I don't know. Maybe it is a rocket. It's hard to tell, because I think it's only located here. because you got the cold snaps mixed in with the other ones, and I'm like, why put all sorts of short range, same weapon damage type there? I don't know. Yeah, it was really difficult to tell what that was. But all this stuff is short range, except for that mortar and the Halo. These missiles that look like our Executioner are much longer range.
Yeah.
These all this stuff, except for the Halo and the mortar, appear to be about a 90 range. The Executioner looking things appear to be about in the 160 range. And when I was looking at the mortar, I'm guessing 300. And I really couldn't tell with the Halo, because the Halos are always weird. So I was just sort of trying to preview, what potential weapon types we might be seeing. Anybody else seen anything I missed?
No. Before we go on though to the next slide, just like to say, I know, if you're building an icebreaker is just a rocket hole, and all you're going to put on it is rockets, ranking it to 52% is fine because you're going to get your rocket reload maxed out. But if you're ever if you have in the back of your head that you might turn it into a tank, or for any reason you might build it with a countermeasure, which is the way I went, put one of each countermeasure on just to mitigate some damage, you'll want to rank it to skull because your countermeasure reload will be based off of that. So you will not max out your countermeasures on 52%. You will need to take it to skull. They got quiet.
I'm sorry. I thought I was on mute. I was agreeing with him, and I went through there for a while. The other reason, if you're going to run it as a tank, in addition to the reload on countermeasures, is also the turn speed, because it sucks by itself, because it has a base of 10. It only gets like 20 something with speed system 5, but every ship that you add on, I think, adds 25%. So you get decent turn speed as a group, but by themselves, their turn speed is pretty bad. So that extra 25% turn speed that would be added by the ranking would be quite helpful. Alrighty. George, you're very quiet tonight.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Yeah, what have you done ranked?
I mean, have I what?
Have you got your ships all ranked?
Yeah, they're at skull. 2 coins, skull rank. I'm done.
Okay.
I cannot say enough that KXI really did a good thing this VXP weekend.
If they meant it.
Because, and also because they have the VXP, you need to skull this thing. I'm glad they stopped the tier 16s 100,000. That should not have been the thing if they wanted to keep the VXP numbers the same.
Though we don't know for certain that they stopped it, because the 100,000 we saw was on Conqueror holes, and this is not and icebreakers are not Conqueror holes. So
That's fair. I even more hope that doesn't stay the case, though, because that's the only way to rate Conqueror holes is VXP weekends. So yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah,
Hooray.
Daniel asked about evade for these targets. And I think the evade is going to be quite helpful, both with the ships that are shooting blade, or not blade,
Missiles.
the NPC. Well, they're knife. Yeah. Well, the Drax have knife missiles while we have blade missiles. So they're shooting knife missiles at you, and then the two. At least 1 or 2 missile turrets that evade should probably come in handy. I'm not sure what else you would replace that with.
I'm devoting a special to evade, probably agility 4, because I bought enough in the last raid. But even if not, a guidance gambler 3, that's gonna, about 50% evade, a little more because you have speed system 5 on it. That's gonna do you wonders.
Yeah, because we don't know at this point and what the accuracy stats are going to be on those missile turrets. But if they're nice, they'll keep them right around 100. as opposed to jacking them up to 180 something, where you need to get your evade into the 60s or high 60s to even start to make a difference.
Or 1,000.
Yeah, but the thing to remember is those dead eyes, they're going to hit.
They don't get shot down, but you can dodge them
Yeah, you can evade them.
unless their accuracy is high enough.
Yeah, because they have done 1,000 accuracy on some stuff before. We switched over to penetrate. These are the FM prizes, the new ones. We're going to start with the tamer ones, the penetrative plate. They're only letting you put it on Conqueror and Defender for the new ones that have been released. There's now 6 levels of these, but levels 1 through 3 you can put on any hull. But the ones that have been more recently released, 4, 5, and 6, are limited to Conquerors and Defenders. There's a good reason behind it, but in case people wanted to throw a Rhino in their base guard or something of that nature, it still would have been useful. If that's what Brian, you were about to say, the reason they did it. I think across the board, I think it's a good idea for most players to realize that you're not supposed to be putting this type of armor on PvE hulls because it doesn't work.
And if you're watching this video, you probably frequent the bigger pages enough about BP to know that there are multiple, tens of questions weekly on, should I put radioactive plate on this thing? In this last time, it was for the raid because radioactive deflection, da-da-da-da-da. And every time we had to tell them, no, it's wrong, it's bad. Every single time. And the only way that this is going to really get through to people, because Kixeye don't really, they haven't updated their in-game information to teach players about this sort of thing. And the initial communication where deflection gets bypassed is buried so long ago that no one knew was going to dig it up. It's basically impossible for a new player to know this, which is a fault on Kixeye.
Yeah.
But now they're sort of fixing it, making it, this only applies to holes where it's actually going to work.
Yeah, and this is
So good for them.
Yeah, but it sort of takes away. It would have been nice if like a warning popped up if you try to put this on a, say an assault hull, like this is not going to work and da da da. Do you want to put this on anyway? What?
I've seen so many people ignore so many signs because I work at a library, and people will walk straight
People are still
through the
chewing
door.
gum. I'm sorry.
No, they will walk straight. I hope they are not chewing gum because they will fall over and our floors are now concrete, and that's going to hurt. Like at eye level at the door is our hours and anything important, like printers are down or our internet isn't working or, hey, we're moving our servers and there was a giant sign, that's 5 feet tall and points to where the book drop is. And we changed it a year ago and people are still having problems with it. So no, people don't read and they don't understand. This is really the only way to get it through to everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had to, really, and they did. So they may get hate on it, but Kixeye, I applaud you. Good job.
Okay. I see this armor as being unbalanced in many ways. I think the best balance as a player that you would find is to put it in your patrol. Because if you look at the repair durations on a lot of the armors and the base armor of a lot of the Conqueror hulls, each time you add one of these plates on, you're more than doubling your base repair time. You're going from like 30 minutes to an hour and 10 just with one plate.
Yeah,
but you're not doubling your armor points. So
yeah,
I
I said you're doubling your repair time, and yeah, it's more of a I use the term coiner candy as far as using this on a Conqueror, as far as attacking bases, because you have that half repair time if you use it on your defensive hull, your patrol.
And even then, it's not necessarily doubling the amount of armor that you have defense against, because a good Liberator with Scorias, I think that's what, over 6,000 damage every missile, something like that.
Mhm.
Maybe up 7,000. Something very, very high just to ships. And this will take that to 4, but that's not quite enough. It's a shame that because these
But
Conqueror
you can put 3 of them on there. It's
you can, and then you're quadrupling your repair for basically making yourself immune to missiles. That's what people do a lot with the radio plates. But it's a shame because I was really excited when they made that division for Conqueror and Defender, and they banned them from the targets. There is literally nothing preventing them now from making a lot more interesting choices with things like this. But if the repair duration was 10 minutes, like, yes, it's still diluting your repair efficiency heavily, but it's an interesting trade-off there. And now you're forced to put them on, or you may feel forced to do that, but you're driving your repair up so high that a lot of people, except for like the high-end coiners that are also base hitters, would feel that it's just not worth it. It's 1 coin versus 4. Well, I can run this guy in 3 times, probably kill that ship and still come out at a profit, as opposed to using 3 of these. So they kind of bumbled it, I feel. It could have been a repair efficiency a lot more.
yeah.
And 4 and 5 levels of this should not have existed at all. There's no reason for them to exist. Bad. Stop.
But now they
Well,
did put
especially
these in the
since-
retro lab.
What?
Yeah,
I'm
they
about to
put
find
these
out.
are in the retrofit lab.
Let me take a look.
Yeah, let me double check that one.
Like,
I'm
I
a
think I
coiner.
heard someone else say
I'm using them, and I've got them retroing right now.
I bet you do. Because that's what, 20% more, I think? Usually it's like 24%. True.
And what does it do in the retro?
Yeah. They're all
What's
in
it
there. Yeah, pen deflection
What's
plus
it doing?
2%, so it's 23.4%, I think, at R15 is usually how this goes. Yeah,
So
so that's going to be
But what is it doing? It's
20.
adding 23% what?
Deflection.
pen deflection. So
Okay.
you're going to have almost 2,500 pen deflection. Like
Okay.
2493 rounded up.
Okay. Well, let me see. This is going to take a lot of conversation, and my beer is empty. I don't know. Maybe I should go back to the other slide.
Oh,
Actually, I should go back to the last slide and let you guys talk about that for about 15 seconds, and I'll be back so we can talk about the deep sea countermeasures.
That's not how this works. Get to the next slide and stop. Beer can wait. Let's go. Come on. Come on.
insert Game of Thrones joke here.
I'm very disappointed in the girls these slides so far, but you know.
The theming is on point. If you want pure shock value, go to the rest of the internet. Oh, haha! So if you're in the United States, we have President Trump, and I believe he just signed a bill that would companies can now buy and sell your browser search history without you knowing about it and without your consent. So
Google and Facebook
think about
do
that.
crap already.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, that's
sort
already
out
been
now.
going on, Brian.
Incognito.
That's just
All
like
right,
telemarketers buy and sell their phone lists. So
Usually it's not. If I do it on normal Google, yeah, it'll come up in my ads.
No.
But
Google's
I
Google's
just-
software is in like hundreds of thousands of websites. You've no idea. It'll depress if you ever look into it.
yeah, this is nothing.
I guess I guess I don't. Okay. Well, I tried to be topical. Oh well, it'll be
Okay.
okay.
All right.
What are your browser histories, everybody?
We've got the deep sea countermeasures, which is it's a fascinating new weapon considering it doesn't fit on any hull that we own, and we can't actually own it until next week. So that's probably a good thing. So it is a damage type countermeasure, which we'll bring up later because pretty much all your countermeasures are not damage type countermeasure. They're either anti-mortar or anti-penetrate or anti-missile penetrating, whatever it is.
Yep. There's only one. Well,
Yeah.
now two.
Yeah, this is the second one. The Trident is the other one. It's requires that you have a weapon sight that is exactly countermeasure and underwater, which, like I said earlier, does not exist. This is going to pair with the Gluttony, which is a PvP sub, which based on everything that Kixeye has done, should be in a TLC next week. That would be preferred that you have your oppressors ranked and built at that point.
We're presuming it's a Conqueror hull.
Well, with the name Gluttony, it's
yeah. Well, I mean that's part of the reason why we presumed it.
well, that's what I'm saying. By everything that Kixeye has done, also they haven't announced that it's next week either, have they?
I don't
know.
No.
But it would make
I'm
sense
trying
for
to think that he said. I'm trying to remember what he said in the forums.
No, I'm presuming in that by the timing in the FM and the fact that the other thing that we haven't mentioned yet is that the Garrison raid skill hall is not going to come out until the third week in this cycle. So it's not next week, but the following week we're going to see what we expect to be a mortar haul. That is going to be the Cannoneer to the Icebreaker being the either Tideseeker or Ironclad. And we still got to wait a week on that. And also I would expect to see which we can talk about later. I would expect to see a new mortar and a new special come out at that same TLC. It's got 2,000 armor. It's got a repair duration of 3 minutes and 20 seconds, which is a very nice repair efficiency of 0.1, but you can't really use it on anything at this point, so we don't really know what that means.
Wait, what?
Well, previously we've done things like the is it you, Dr. Death?
What?
Somebody's like playing
Yeah,
with his candy or something. I don't know what's going on over there. But it's got a repair efficiency of 0.1, which a lot of times, things like the Panda and things like that, where we like to just throw things on because it's got a lot of armor points for relatively low repair. But this you can't put on that many things. It's because nothing's out there for it yet. So it can't just be used for the armor. So anything else on the anything else on the deep sea countermeasure? I mean, it's going to be a Conqueror haul. For some reason, it's a countermeasure. We assume that it's going to be some sort of Reaper style. I expect a new weapon to come out for it that's going to surpass the Deluge. And what's the other one? What's the other missile? Downpour, yeah. Some other weapon that's going to fit in that slot.
There is one other notable thing. This is the first countermeasure we've ever gotten that did both mortar and missile.
Yeah. We've gotten, missile and rocket and UAV before. This one doesn't counter UAVs, which is interesting. Since we have a UAV defense haul.
The programmers of the game counter UAVs.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about them. They're broken.
Yeah, so this might be their way of making the Alpha Behemoth and the Cesium Scarab useful, because it does not counter. There won't be a counter for that.
Yeah, but can they shoot underwater?
No, but
No.
What's that limited one that we got out of the arena?
Oh yeah.
The
G100S. But it's one. I think it's one of
Talking
the.
about the hull.
Oh, the. Oh, I have one of those.
Does it start with a V or some shit?
Yeah,
Got one built.
the Sub Hunter one. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I own one, but I got one built. I just can't remember the name at the moment. But I
never
don't
built
think
one,
that's
I think.
okay.
Hold on, I'll find out. It's somewhere on this thing.
Wait, it was a sub, not a sub hunter.
I'm fixing it.
It's a sub hunter.
Oh,
The Valkyrie
And it was-
carrier did start with a
That's
V.
it. Yeah,
That.
Valkyrie.
oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And now we have the subaquatic propellant, and this is also expected to be paired with the new gluttony hull. It has a countermeasure reload, which we mentioned earlier, of plus 50%, but not for what we call countermeasures. It's not going to work with your.
Oh.
It's not going to work with your hellstorms, hailstorms, phalanx. What else we got?
Darn.
Gale. Gale.
That would have been great.
Not work with your gales. Whatever. It's not.
It's only going to work with Tridents and this new one. That's it.
Yeah. So it's an interesting special. It also gives you projectile speed. So that's interesting. If this is going to be a base attacking sub that needs additional projectile speed associated with it, along with countermeasures. And this is going to stack with other countermeasure and submarine technology.
That cloak time stacks.
Yeah, and I'm assuming, yeah, it'll stack with what, like frontline countermeasures as well.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It'd be nice. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with, because I expect you guys will probably need to move your bases around a little bit based on whatever combo is going to happen with these two weapons, or this special and weapon, and what I project is going to be another new special weapon and hull that should be coming out next Wednesday or Thursday. So
I would think Tuesday, because that's generally when they generally do it at 3:00 after the hey hello.
okay. And we have the explosive overlay.
Yeah, that would be explosive.
Yeah. We have another one of these overlays. Has anybody found a use for these? Because we have other ones that all they're doing is protecting your walls from a certain damage type.
So
I
you see
have
this?
one.
You see this right here?
Yeah,
This
I
is
see
where
her.
that belongs.
Uh-oh.
This is where that prize belongs. Right in here. Chuck it away. Shouldn't have existed.
Well, yeah. Well, look at what. But see here, you get a bonus effect if you put it on your outpost. How many people have their outpost surrounded by a bunch of walls, or have their outpost up front where they got their walls at? Or you can put it on those two labs. Of course, it doesn't matter if you put it on the two labs, because the splash from the explosives is enough from one shell to take out either of those two labs. So if you put it on a
Yeah.
lab, it's going to be useless after the first shot.
And like mortars don't care about your walls, and no one uses rockets anyways, and the walls have a very high armor and already have innate explosive resistance as they leveled up, and they block splash. Like the only thing that it could possibly work with is if you put turret or walls in between turrets, but I don't see that a whole heck of a lot. And if you're trying to splash out someone sitting around, there's almost no walls there. Maybe this could do something with that, but I think that would have already happened if walls were so good that you needed to put them in. So I don't see this having any use at all, ever.
No, it had a use. It was fluff to control token release.
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
the tinfoil hat out.
that's the actual answer. That's the actual answer.
Yeah, I know, but when he says it, he has to have the tinfoil hat on.
Yeah.
Come on.
They did perfectly line up because the last week TLC where we get the skill hole is the only week where we'll be able to get all the tokens.
Yeah, I mean,
We should have
it might have been semi-useful if it had a range of about 100 to 120. Then I could see potentially throwing it on something. It does stack, but
And
again,
you know where it would have gotten its use. They could have made this a really good special that would have really actually had value in your bases if they had have added one word. If it had been building and turret. You know what I mean? If
Yep.
it had been wall and turret, then
Yeah.
I could have seen a use for this special. I mean, I would have already used the base parts to put it in my base.
Yeah, and the thing is, like we've had one for corrosive and concussive, but the thing is with those weapons actually have to get through the walls. So there's at least some value that you could possibly see in there. And here there isn't. Rockets don't exist anymore unless you want to put like D100S's on your Gore Sabers because there's 50% rocket wall evasion and try to run it up someone's channel and hit their turret, except you're dead before you get in because Gore Sabers are crap at base hits. So this should not have been here. This should not have existed.
yeah, it's a poor special. That's the end of the slides. So I didn't make that many because it's a Friday night. Is there any slides we want to go back to?
Well, I'm happy just staying on this one.
I see. Okay. Whoops.
Oh, so he goes to a blank screen. I see how it is.
I went back. I was clicking away. All right.
Hefe's going to have to make the Hefe collection for Dr. Death one day.
Yeah. I'm the only one that can be able to find hot girls on the internet. So,
I'm just saying.
yep. Alrighty. Well, I guess I'm gonna actually end the slides and go off of screen sharing and see if anybody else has any James, okay. Can somebody check the since I'm screen sharing? Can somebody check the Facebook crib about James has put up a post saying the new countermeasures can be used on some existing halls, and since I'm screen sharing, I don't know that I want to do that. Could you do that, Brian, or
Do what now?
Weapons
James said he
positions
put-
have changed. Oh, James Burris. Is that the
Yeah.
guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, not gonna work. It's not exactly countermeasure and underwater. There's a standard in there. It's not gonna work. There were pictures about it on the forums and on TFC yesterday. No, sorry. You should not be able to put them on there, per what the forum says.
Yeah, it'll the way you can tell is if you go to your shipyard and load whatever ship you think you can get it put on, does it even show up as an option anywhere? Because I can't even get it to show up as an option anywhere. Go to the shipyard, go to design mode, and then even have it show up anywhere. The only way I can find it is in my FM. That's where I had to get the screenshot of that because I never.
I don't think it's going to
'cause
actually be put in the game until next week.
Well, you still wouldn't be able to see it if it's not loadable. If it's not fit your type, it doesn't show up. Like an example is if you put a Hellwraith in to your shipyard, and you're only going to see torpedoes listed. You can only it only shows you the weapon types that you can use.
I'm gonna try in game to put it on like a barricade and something right now.
I just tried on the Kuda and you can't do it.
Yeah, exactly countermeasure and underwater. There's a standard.
Only.
So
Only
yeah, no.
thing that the slot has to say, that the slot can say.
see if I can find the forum post about this. There might have been a forum post. That wasn't
was.
the release notes about
It
this.
actually included pictures too.
Yeah, and,
Yeah,
and
there are pictures.
Yeah, Daniel's
Blue
asked-
tag is-
Daniel's asking about something that I forget who I sent that to. I think it's sent into the admin group. That there is a new behemoth-looking thing in your in the shipyard when you go to the Defenders. That's a new behemoth type that's not around, and I'm assuming that something slipped out. And considering the beginning of the last raid cycle, there was a Defender Hall. I'm just wondering if somehow that slot got put in there.
Yeah, I'm trying. You can't load it
No.
into your shipyard though to design it.
Yeah,
It looks,
And I can't even see anything hovering over it. So
it looks exactly like an
Okay.
alpha.
yeah,
it might just
I
be.
mean,
It might just be
Display
an
error.
artifact.
Yeah, it might just be a graphical.
it could either be something that's coming, and they accidentally put it in there and didn't mean to include it in the update, or it's just one of the random things that they throw into the game that doesn't seem to belong.
Well, they've had artifacts before. The regular coaxial was in there like that before because of the secondary weapon. So who knows why that one's in there? I mean, that's weird things happen.
I
like
figure
that.
it's the first of the two. There'd be a new Defender, and
Yeah.
it just is in
Because-
there now, and it shouldn't be.
Because they paid so little attention to the alpha that I assumed another one was on the way. I mean, that was like, their forgotten stepchild that they just sort of slapped around and left there. I mean,
And still charged you 12 million for it in the last raid and 2 million points of build token.
and the only way you were
It's a
getting
very expensive neglected stepchild.
Yeah. Well, and also the fact that you already had to have won the Cannoneer and then paid for the weapons and done all that stuff to even consider getting that. I mean, that's I just don't understand that, because everybody thinks they take care of the whales, and the whales are the only people that have the cesium and the alpha.
I could have
baffled by that.
theoretically bought the cesium in the last raid, but didn't. Nope.
And they were still
Not
charging.
even.
They still were charging what, like 12 million for it?
7.5 for the
Seven-
Of
UAV.
course. Hey, you know though. Okay, so we see that bug in there. We don't know what it's all about, right? But my question is, since all the research tech, including Havoc torpedoes, have a 100% countermeasure reload now, will that stack on top of the new special when we get the sub?
Oh God, we
weapon?
broke it.
That's a glitch.
Let's go, team.
It's because it's
That's a
on
glitch.
your rocket pad too.
That would actually be that would be interesting if you fired a rocket and it like it stunned them for a shorter, but it gave your team a buff or something. Like that would be really cool. Like for 20 seconds, you got like 50% bonus explosive damage or whatever.
No. We're gonna what it is, Brian. We're gonna get rockets, right? That when you're firing them at a base and the anti-rocketeer launches to try and stop your rocket's going to launch countermeasures.
An anti-rocketeer. Hell yeah. That's how chill this week was. We've gotten to anti-rocketeer.
Well, no, I would like to talk for a minute about the new armors because everybody's been kind of hating on the new armors, but I did do a test today with the new armors and posted a video about it, and I showed the new armors working in the test in the video that I posted. So,
And you tested them, but you tested them against a 101, this new Garrison VXP target thing.
and
the problem is everyone's complaining that they're broken in everything else.
well,
Yeah,
they are
that's the
broken in everything else. But now I don't understand it either because like I tested it. I tested on multiple targets. I took the same two ships and tested them on a cargo, and then I took the same two ships and tested them on a 102 in the FM. And the results were that the ship that had no armor on it at all barely got scratched, whereas the ship that had the new armors on it just got sunk. Okay, so I was like, this is just total junk. But then I tested it in the new 101 and had exactly the exact opposite results, which could clearly be seen in the video that I posted. It was insane. You know, one icebreaker with just one of each of those panels pretty much walked a whole 101. Whereas the other icebreaker with neither of the panels on it just got ripped apart. So could it be something that's been added? Could there be something in the new target's code that's making the armor work that was not existent in the old target's code?
I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. I've been trying to, like, ever since that guy posted the very first video, like still during the raid of when he hit the salvage and he was getting chunked out really bad. I thought that, like, oh, the minimum damage for those weapons is under 25 or whatever. So yeah, he's going to be taking some more damage because if you would take like 2 damage from a penetrative hit, it goes up to 25. That's how that works. So I thought, oh, maybe it was that. And then in the FM, it's not working, and those targets are quite powerful by comparison. But in the new one, it's working. I don't get it, and I think that's a big problem that they're going to need to fix. Even if it's just for only 3 months, like, we still need to do the FM.
Yeah, well, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm concerned about, though. You know, and the reason why I posted the video, made the video, and posted the video, you know, we went out and spent a lot of freaking points collecting these armors, right? And everybody's posting videos showing in the old targets that these armors are not working at all. So there's a lot of the player base starting to get really upset that they put in that seat time, grinded those points, and took that armor for it to be just absolute junk. So then I find the new target, which, you know, as far as we know, is might be a preview of the next raid series, and this armor shined. You know what I mean?
Do you want to put on your video? Do you know how to do that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I can find the URL and you can just...
Yeah. Or you want to screen share it, or you want me to screen share it?
You should.
Okay.
You guys know my bandwidth and such.
Okay.
It's not good.
Okay.
But yeah, it's right there for you.
Okay. You can do a blow by blow, so to speak, of your.
Oh boy.
What?
Did you not like my video, George?
No, that's not my comment.
Oh, okay. George, get your mind out of the gutter. You ain't got the good pictures up right now.
All right, I will pause this, full screen it, and screen share, and alrighty. I think everybody should be able to watch this at this point. I always have everything on mute, so I don't know if you got. Ooh, let me crank up my. Alrighty. Give it a little time, but do you want to explain some things, Dr. Death, on like how this is working?
Okay, well, yeah, what I did was I took 2 icebreakers, and they're full builds without any armor panels. And I took one of the icebreakers, and I put one of each of the panels on, because the panels don't change defensive stats. So both icebreakers still have the exact same defensive stats, the exact same DPS. In this first hit, this is the icebreaker that has one of each of the new armor panels on it. And as you can see, I mean, just one icebreaker is a very vicious ship. You know, it's ripping apart the targets quite well, and it's not taking a lot of damage, you know. There we go. Anyway, so I'm not certain. I haven't figured out exactly what it was that gave me that chunk of damage right there at the start. But, you know, I took a chunk of damage right at the beginning of the thing. But as you can see, my armor pool is still over halfway full. And I'm just walking through the target.
Yeah, the top line is your armor pool, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you
And
took
so,
a little chunk there. I mean, one of the ways I see using this is maybe you retreat at this point, or retreat earlier when you weren't taking fire.
Yeah, now see, that might have been a way to do it. Now, as
Yeah.
you can,
But it wouldn't have been good side by side. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
but now as you can see, as long as I've still got that armor on, my health bar is barely dropping at all. You know what I mean? But once that gets down, then I start to die quick. Once I lose the armor panel, but it made a major difference on how much of this target I could attack. You know what I mean? With just one ship. I mean, it was just one. So I didn't have any of the other defensive bonuses from the fleet stacks or nothing. You know, this was just base bonuses was all it was. And in the when we get into the second hit here in just a few seconds, the second hull that I'm using is the exact same build, but it does not have either one of the new armors on it. And you'll see that it really just kind of melts fast. So you can definitely see by the video that in this target, the armor makes a big difference.
Okay. Yeah, we've seen you've made it all the way through this target. I was going to fast forward ahead to, there we go. Well, almost all the way through the target.
Yeah, I didn't have anything left in the pool when I went against that last executioner, and it just killed it. And now this is the hull that has no armor, that doesn't have either of the armor panels on it. Exact same build. Everything else is the same. Specials, weapons, and counters is all the exact same on this hull. Both hulls are skulled. So, you know, everything is identical on the stat blocks. But
Yeah,
this hull...
Yeah. The other hull had one of each type of the charged armor, and this one has neither one of them.
Right. But as you can see, this hull's already half dead. I mean, it's just melting. So you can definitely see that in this target, the armor makes a major difference. So next raid series, that's something we're going to have to really look at because it could make a big difference in how much damage you take in the targets. You know, if it works like it's doing here, then it'll make a major difference.
And if you put two of each on it, there could be an argument for I'm not going to run, what is it, MX3, and in its place I'll put in, pick your favorite splash special that you can stack, because you can put like cesium-133, nice. You can put, what is it, the viscosity regulator and narrow firing aperture and combustion system 2, because splash.
Yeah, because if you got two panels, you got twice the pool. So it'll take twice as long for it to beat through and actually be able to start really tearing your ship apart.
Yeah, and if there are few missiles in the target and you stack evade, maybe you can go 3x and 1m. Who knows? Or, you know, it's actually providing interesting options, but they need to make this work with everything else right now.
Yeah, but just for that, just possibly in the higher level targets, that they might overcome just the, what is it, 10,000 pin deflection from the one.
No,
That's
it's 37,000 something from the pin deflection, 10,000 explosive deflection.
Okay,
And
so
it's probably safe to assume that you're going to outrun every mortar, or almost every mortar. So really, you're up against rockets here.
Right, but but see, I put that in there because not everything in there, not all the explosive damage in there is just from morts.
Yeah,
You do have
there's
the
rockets.
frostbites and the rockets, so you have other forms of explosive damage. That's why, you know, I don't think we're going to be able to just ignore having an explosive panel on.
Oh, definitely not. No, I would still have one, you know, anyway, because I know how much the cold snaps in the FM hurt by comparison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so that the player base knows, you know, everybody that's watching, I did this exact same test in an FM 102 with the exact same two holes and exactly the opposite result. I was able to take the icebreaker that had no armor on it and auto a 102 for 20 minutes of damage. But the icebreaker with the armor died in a 102 before even getting halfway through it on auto. So
yeah, that's the interesting part. I mean, that's That's the confusing part, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think I would have included that in your video. I think I would have made it a 4-part series and explain that it's, because we're seeing these on other targets. If this charged armor doesn't work on the other targets, because it's, even if it's a Garrison target and it's not working, it's something that people ought to know before they spend all the time to refit it.
Could I ask a question on that hit there?
Yeah.
Whenever you're going through, did you try and avoid contact with the cold snap completely? Or the frostbite?
This was just a damage-based run. I just wanted the ship to just run through it, let everything pound on it, and see how the armor was going to stack up with the armor versus without the armor. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, it's the way I've been seeing the armor's working. If you avoid the cold snap completely, you're going to take way less damage. It just looks like the cold snap or frostbite turret isn't working with the armor. So it's just
the problem is in that target, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, that frostbite turret has a range of 90, and the weapon, your rockets, only have a range of 88.
I gotta figure out how to retreat without activating everything else and killing these.
What up, George? I don't know. George needs to retreat, I guess. I don't know what's going on there.
The way the turrets are set up in the 101s at the moment, you can get away mostly with splash damage on the frostbite turrets, so you don't really need to get in contact with them.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't tried to hit them as a real target. I've been just dealing with the ships personally.
I wasn't really. This wasn't me actually trying to attack this as it being a raid target. I didn't try and come up with a pattern for it. I wasn't actually trying to snipe turrets. This was just throw the ship in there, bum rush everything, let it get hit, so I could see the damage value of one hull versus the other hull based on the armors.
Yeah. No, I understand what you were going for. It's they've made it so complicated. It's hard to compare things because I'm trying to think of, like, once you start adding up all those resistances combined with deflection of the hull, it's they made the math. I think they made the math fairly complicated unless somebody's got a clear way to see through it. As far as if you combine, 5 ships with max resistances and max deflection, how it adds up with this new charged armor, unless you want to retreat. And if you want to retreat, I can see the obvious advantage, but I think there's a lot of math and running through the targets to see what else, to see the impact it's going to have.
Of course, that is you're assuming that we will be able to retreat, and I've got a bad feeling with the way Kickside does things and the way this armor's set up that we may not see a retreat button next raid.
They've got a lot of bad feedback about. They removed the retreat button from what
The
What's up, raid?
Yeah, I think they got a lot of bad feedback about the lack of a retreat button. I don't know. I mean, they could do that, but they've done a lot of things to piss off players, so that they could do that. I mean, they really need to start, like the video that you did. They need to start actually, they put the videos out, and the videos are amusing, but the videos don't even give you a little snapshot of what the prizes are. And I find that to be, they just expect you to win them and then expect some player to coin them, watch it on YouTube, and then make the decision on whether you want to buy it or not. And then this past raid, there was no targets that were appropriate for it. And so it was like, oh, okay, I don't really want to buy this. This doesn't look good.
Well, You know what made me mad? What's made me mad? I'm just going to say this out right now, okay? Kickside can kiss my ass as far as I'm concerned. You know, they tell people on the other shows, you know, to go out and say that this was what, you know, that this armor was more a luxury item, and they released it so that the player base could test this armor, you know, and they could get feedback. Kickside, you got employees. Pay your damn employees to test the damn shit before you put it in the game.
Or
hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I take exception to that remark. They told us to say what?
Well, no, on the other shows, and TFC said it differently, but BB came out and said that Kickside directly and said it, but that Kickside said this was luxury armor and that it was being released in the game so that the player base could test it and they could get feedback.
Okay. The way that you had said it made it sound like though they were telling us what to say, and that is
no,
absolutely not true.
But I mean, what their opinion was is that they were releasing this armor so that the player base could test it. Kickside's got its own damn employees. Test your shit before you put it in the game. You ain't giving me a paycheck to test your product. You're expecting me to spend money to buy your product. So when I get your product, it should work. It's that simple.
I was under the impression that it was a luxury item and that it was going to be tuned so that whoever actually uses it is going to glide through the targets. Now, I think what they were trying to say was that we're going to be guinea pigs because they're going to be tuning while we're using them to see how they can actually get it to work right, so we can use it going forward.
Okay, but then they need to put something out there that's going to show it working, like I did. Because how many people have turned their noses up at this armor already and said, I'm not going to put this armor on until I see some proof that it works? You know, I'm seeing that posted on every page. I've been seeing that posted on the forums. Everybody's screaming this armor's junk. Nobody wants to use it. You know what I mean? So how's Kickside going to tune this armor properly if most of the player base is turning their nose up at it?
Well, you just showed it in the 101. I mean,
yeah, I showed it, you know, but how many other players have been willing to put it? How many people on the panel here have already got ships built with this armor on?
I do not, but I'm not a filthy coin like you.
I have a Zelos with one of the missile armors on it. And the 101, you're basically sitting there waiting to die.
So your Zelos did not work good with the armor on?
With the missile armor, you don't take much missile damage at all. It's just everything else. It's more the frostbite turrets that get you.
So if you had an explosive panel on there too, your Zelos probably would have done a lot better.
Well, I can kill the 101 with the Zelos being a tank, just avoiding the explosive damage. It's the frostbite turrets which are the thing that is scaring me the most about these targets, because that'll just shred you.
Yeah, and we don't know at this point if with the new hull, if you're going to outrange. I'm guessing like that when you made that when you were going around to the right, and there was the arc missile. What we were thinking was, you know, potentially D100S or something else. I'm assuming that the new one will be able to outrange all that stuff, except for the arc missile, the mortar, and the executioner. I think the rest of it should be we could probably outrange with the skill hull if it gets a range of 96, 95, 96. It seems like a lot of that stuff could get outranged.
Well, no, I mean, it all depends, because, the rumor still is that the new skill hole is going to be a mort, which means it's going to be a remote hole.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in and say my piece real quick before I have to leave. But up until yesterday, when it was revealed that the skill hole was going to be released a week before the Wade, I was really scared, because my style of game, not spending money, revolves around intelligence and planning in a strategy game, which should be a thing that can happen. And you can say real quick.
Okay.
All right. Apparently a vacuum disagrees, but sometimes I don't think that Kixeye really knows what they're doing too far in advance, and that really makes it hard for people to plan. And when they combine that with 2-week plus build times for holes that we're supposed to have 4 of, 2-month fleet build times in 3-month raid cycles, and yeah, you get tokens to knock some of it off, but still, what, a month and a half? You're halfway through the raid cycle for your first fleet's done. You probably would have missed out on the first hole because we all know that they haven't been able to tune the first raid of the cycle properly for the holes that they're trying to say and the weapons they're trying to say. Take that and
I was just saying we still don't have like the flagship hull for this thing.
I can be okay with not having the flagship hull. I think we're all just building 4 because even still 4 holes is 2 months. Combine that with, I really hope the new skill hull is not a rocket hull like this is, because see also Mauser and Millennium, no one's using Mausers anymore. They're no good. The Millennium is that much stronger. And if we spend all this time putting these 16-hour rockets with an officer, 18 hours probably normally, on our holes and then take off and put it back on, that's even more time we spend refitting. And it's the same thing as 3 months ago all over again. And all that other stuff in building those new holes, it becomes impossible to play the game without either massive amounts of tokens or coins or both, because we're not given a way where we can make something that we're confident that this will be properly tuned to the target. And at that point, I'm not going to play anymore, because like the breakneck speed of things coming out, especially this year, I think it is slowing down, and that's good. But we also need some direction, because again, with the whole releasing the icebreaker but not releasing the skill hull, we had to waste 12 days of tokens, all our raid, and that got 4 blanks out for me just in time for VXP weekend. My last icebreaker shell finished this morning, and I had to put some rockets onto it to get it to do VXP weekend properly so that I could do the next raid. Like, it's so difficult and such a tight timing, even given all these tokens that are just supposed to be for extra stuff, but we can't do that anymore. So you have to be ahead to keep staying ahead, but even still, the strain that it puts on our resources is too great to do well, considering the amount of information that we're given and the tuning that we have. That Kixeye just needs to get good at making their game. I feel is too general, but yeah, that's what needs to happen, and they need to get better at communicating to us, because
they need to bring the whip back, right? Is it basically what you're saying, correct?
They need
A better version.
Yeah, a better version. And I mean, normally if something wasn't ready on time, a lot of times a lot of players could understand that. But with the tight windows that they're making, and making these holes so long and making the raid cycle short and not giving us a lot of options otherwise, they would need to hit those deadlines for players to have something reasonable to compete in the raids out, in time.
Yeah.
And that hasn't really been happening. We haven't had their estimated timelines versus their brought out timelines. But if the amount of testing and the quality of the products that we're getting is any indication, they're failing on a massive level. And it's not good. And
Actually, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't want to just, be like the guy that's saying, oh, get better, test your products and that, because on one sense, it's not particularly helpful that they're getting this feedback from so many people and it doesn't seem specific enough. But at the same time, they're failing in basic delivery. The Cannoneer had a garbage weapon until you spent $10. The Ironclad was garbage after the first raid. The charged armors aren't working in anything but the newest target. Like, we can't do this. We can't chase these prizes if they're all going to be horrible, and we have to spend money to get anything that would work for the first raid of the cycle.
And we don't have trust in them, because there's still things out there that are like,
Broke.
we talked about the cesium, the cesium scarab. It's still broken. They haven't fixed it yet. So why do we have faith that they're going to fix it? So they need to be aggressive with the community and show them, okay, this is something that we're going to work on, because they've ignored the cesium scarab thing, and they've ignored the alpha behemoth thing, as far as they just ignore it and just hope it goes past. I'm not happy with that.
Yeah, and that's
No,
a top
it's
prize
not
in the
bad.
raids. That's a
Yeah.
top prize that you earned through your skill and time and maybe some money. You went for that, and not a month later, they don't care. GDR, I think, was it? No, might not have been him. But people were saying, "Oh, this is the most underrated hull of the year." The Alpha Behemoth is.
That was
Who's that?
I quoted someone saying that. That was me. But I do want to say that Brian touched on one of my biggest fears right now with the icebreaker. I have 4 built, right? I have an engine on them, and I'm putting a couple of rockets on them, and I am dying to see what comes out for the skill hull, because I have a feeling that some of my specials might have to get changed once those specials come out. And
Yeah, I'm leaving
not
2
knowing
special.
these. Yeah, I mean it's this is stupid.
Yeah.
Yes, like speed 5. I'm putting MX3 and turret defense, and who knows what else? Because what if they make HVR 2.0 that does or that does explosive damage in place of ballistic damage, except it's HVR and it's dumb.
Oh gosh.
I mean, I just I had a very specific build, and I'm afraid to actually build the damn thing because I don't know what's coming out, and that's kind of crappy, especially when we're going to be using the hull within a week of when the new specials and stuff are coming out.
Yep.
Yeah, you might not have time to refit, just like me getting the Mauser cannon when I put Arbalest on my cannoneers because that's the best that we had at the time. Well, now I had to put Mausers on, and I had like 2 to 3 Mausers on everything of 4 cannoneers because that's all I had. That's literally all I had time to do. Saving up and being diligent and planning my real life around a game, which just shouldn't have to happen.
Yeah, and it's all based back on communication. And on communication, and I don't want to, and I'm not saying anything negative about the other shows, but Kixeye released information to the other shows for them to broadcast, and that was great. But after the shows broadcast that information should have been pinned on the top of the forums.
Actually,
Don't watch the show.
Actually, the information was released to the town hall people.
Yeah, I know about. I mean,
Right,
I know,
but they gave the town hall people permission to broadcast that on their shows.
Right.
And that was fine. That was completely fine. I'm fine with that. But after those shows aired, you see what I'm saying? Like this morning, Kixeye should have pinned, Doom Rooster should have came on and pinned that information at the top of the page for all the player base that doesn't watch any of these shows. Because those players still have no idea what's coming.
Yeah, and put it on the splash screen too, for God's sake. If I want to call back, put a message in a bottle in your base, whatever.
yeah, because I knew about that stuff before it showed up in the other shows, and I agree with you that it needs to be communicated in some way to a broader player base, people that don't watch the shows. And I think that's a huge part of the community is people don't give a crap about the shows. They last too long. It's just a bunch of people bragging about whatever and whatnot.
They want 30 word or less summaries of the information because apparently they're dumb as shit.
Well, most of them don't even go on the forums.
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, they just don't.
No, they don't. But there's still. I mean, there's the player base that follows the shows. Then you got the player base that's always on the forums, and some of them that are on the forums follow the shows. You know what I mean? But it's still not everybody that's on the forums follows the shows. Not everybody that plays the game does any of it. But Kixeye needs to put that in once they've released that information to the public in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, they want to give the shows a chance to put it out first. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great because the players get a heads up. But it should Doom Rooster then, after those shows have aired, after those shows have been watched, Doom Rooster needs to pin that information at the time. I mean, pin it. It don't need to be buried in the forum somewhere. It needs to be pinned at the top. Hey, this is what Kixeye is doing. Attention, Or
Yeah,
give
like-
us a pop up in our base that says, "Hey,
what I'm
week
saying-
before the raid, skill holes coming out in the TLC." You know,
Yeah, like a pill.
And,
a pill-
that's the important one. That's the important one as far as when that hull's coming out in the TLC and that it is coming out in the TLC. Because the other one is like, the charged armor is a luxury thing. They're not going to put that out there because does anybody actually believe it?
no,
No.
but yeah, I agree. The charged armor wasn't that important, but knowing when that skill hole is coming out, that information, that's timeline information that players need to know so that they can try and put some sort of strategy together in this game going forward. You know what I mean? So that information should be blasted everywhere Kickside can for the player base.
Yeah, and I want to say, I hope I don't sound too negative, but no, I'm going to sound negative. Like Kickside, your game is losing members left and right of all kinds, and a very small percentage of these people even watch the shows. So, yes, it's good that you give information to the shows, but give it to the rest of the people. We all need this information, or you're going to have people that have Citadels and the Harlock Citadel and their whatever tank, and they're going to take their FM fleet into the raid. And based on how your tuning works, they're going to get wrecked. They're going to die, near instantly, and there's going to be a Halo missile targeting the back line and this and that, and they're going to get fed up and quit. And if you put, that information out, or even if you tune the targets better, hopefully not like Centurions were supposed to do, last raid cycle. And well, guess what? Between communication and tuning, you have a really good opportunity here. But right now you're fucking it up every way to Sunday, just continually making mistake after mistake. And you should be seeing the writing on the wall now that you're running out of chances, and your chances are very few. So,
But Brian, why do you think they do that? I mean, why do you think they don't release it themselves? I think it's because they think that they have a trust deficit with the community, and if they release it, people aren't going to believe it.
well, but that's what you give them to the shows, because people trust the people on those shows typically. And after the people on the shows say it, they could put it out in the forums, and they could even cite, we said it, but as stated here by these people, this is the information that they said. We can verify that this is correct. So it's literally, you don't have to take my word for it. Take a look. It's in the latest TFC video or the latest BV video or this and that. And this kind of stuff is why they have a trust deficit with the players, but they don't seem too high on
But
fixing that.
That's causing the trust deficit, though, Brian. That's the issue, that they're releasing the information to people that aren't associated with the game.
The shit tier quality of their products and releases is also causing a trust deficit with the player.
Wait! I broke it out. Okay.
Oh, that's right. Where's my comedy? Where's my little salt
I
packet?
broke out the tinfoil hat. Okay.
Right here. Got all this
Here's
salt.
my
You
tinfoil
need a
hat
bigger,
theory on-
tinfoil hat, man. You really
Oh,
do.
I know, but still, here's my tinfoil hat theory on why Kicksai is releasing the information through the shows, but they themselves are refusing to release it officially. Is because if something don't work or something changes, Kicksai can walk away from it. Well, we didn't say that, they did. And it's hung on the shows, not hung on them. That's the tinfoil hat theory.
When the people on the shows cite their sources, as they should, because plagiarism is bad, okay, guys? Really bad. Please don't plagiarize. A lot of people have hopefully completed high school and or college and know such things, but maybe they think it's okay. Still not.
I mean, my
need
theory
salt
about
packet.
tinfoil hat theory could be wrong. It could be that they're just too fucking lazy to do it, but still.
I mean, and to be fair, like, they might also try to hammer out during the town hall meetings, the exact details of the information and get some feedback and maybe try to adjust things here and there. So at the end, they say, hey, here's what you can say. And that's totally fine. I don't know what goes on there. But when you release information and make it public, and
give yourself as a source, you're still accountable for that information. That doesn't change. That somebody else said it, and if they cited you, you're still accountable for it. Your products are still, poor quality on release. You're flip-flopping back and forth on, this and that, and your neglect of things like the alpha behemoth. Like, they're still there. They still exist. We still know about them. It's not helping any that you say to other people, you give information to other people. That doesn't actually fix the problem.
Well, okay, so they do have a trust deficit, and I think part of it is the lack of communication. I mean, that has got to get fixed at some point. At some point, y'all got to fix that. Really, just invest to do that. The other thing I have a problem with, and this is going to go back a couple months, but do you remember when the 57 Reaver Armadas changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on the forums, they're like, hey, nothing's changed, nothing's changed, nothing's changed. And their motto almost always is, get us video proof and we'll look into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got the video proof. What happened? Death, you remember what happened when that video broke?
They still were denying it.
No, they
still denied it.
They called this
closed
the videos were doctored.
Yeah,
that's right. I forgot about that.
They were taking it to the extreme.
No, and
it wasn't, and it was never addressed.
And then there was also a mod who tried to perform his own experiment, who doesn't understand the basic concept of an experiment, to say that it was okay, and that was a whole pile of garbage. Like,
but no,
you think we're idiots and that we have not even made it to high school and have not passed 7th grade science.
Yeah, but George is right. They never did address it. What they did is they lifted up the corner of the carpet and took their broom and brushed it underneath there and just rode out the storm and waited till people stopped complaining. That's all.
Can their carpets still hold all the dust? Sorry.
I don't know. I mean, if you guys remember about a year back when they changed the map size again on salvages, certain fleets that used to be able to auto them couldn't do it anymore. Like old MCX builds and stuff couldn't do it. And they're like, no, nothing's changed. Show us a video. Well, now it's not even that. We got the video and it's still, oh, well, can't really, do nothing for you, video or not. So what, essentially, what message is that sending the community? That's what I want to know. What message are you sending the community even when we have video proof? I mean, me and Hefe did one with the Cesium Scarab. I took a Liberator, Hefe? I drove around his damn Alpha, around and around for 5 fucking minutes and didn't take a single point of damage. That can't be right, man. They just can't.
No, but they don't care. That's the problem.
We got no response.
It's not what they're currently working on, and they're not willing to go back and fix. Because as far as they're concerned, unless it's called, this has been their trend for the last year, well, longer than last year. If it's something that is costing Kixeye money, it takes top priority. They're going to get on it. They're going to fix it. But if it's something that's hurting the player base, but is not hurting Kixeye, it's ignored.
Well,
this is what I'm trying to say though. That with the 57, right? The 57 is a perfect fucking example. All you got to do is come out and go, "Hey guys, look. We were looking at it, and the balance was wrong, and we corrected it. And I understand that it's going to mess up some of y'all's builds, but it was not. The balance was not programmed properly. We adjusted it, okay? And that's cool because you know what? You're actually being upfront about it. You got some balls, and you came up and bellied up to the bar and told me. What you did instead was, hey, nothing's changed. We need some proof or something so we can look into it. Hey, here's a video, and I have a comparative video. You can watch all 3 of these things, and the middle one has both of them at the same time synced. Oh no, no, just ignore it. I mean, that's not cool. That's not cool. We did exactly what you asked us to do, and we get dick instead. Come on. So yeah,
and they call themselves professionals.
It's very frustrating. I mean, it's very, very frustrating. And here's the thing, man. I just happened to have had the before video, right? I mean, they're asking us to do something that costs us time, coin, damage, everything. And that's just not right. And we don't get compensated for it afterwards. That's not right either. You want me to make a video, then that's fine. I'll make the video. It'll cost me the time or whatever. It'll cost me, refits, whatever the hell I got to do. But if I'm right, it's like throwing the red flag at an NFL game. If I'm right, I don't lose the damn timeout. You gotta give me the damn timeout back. If I'm wrong, fine, I lost the coin.
Yeah.
If I'm right, you got to cover my shit.
Well, or at least fucking fix it.
Or fix it. Yeah, I mean, hell, I'd be happy with
Hopefully
the
both.
alpha being fixed.
Yeah. If they fix
know?
it. I mean, basically, we kept on making videos, and then customer support just closed it and stopped even looking at anything with the additional videos I sent them, because they would have one little problem, like, okay, well, it still does this and that, and then I would eliminate that issue. Then they stopped even looking at the videos to see what the problems were.
So we're being their QA team. We're sort of maybe being their messenger, which in itself is a high degree of risk. See also Doom Rooster. What else are we doing for them? Well, we're playing their game, which with the amount of time that they had led us to believe over the last month or so that we've had to invest is a full-time job in and of itself. Can we get paid because we do your jobs better than you? Is that a thing? And with that, I'm out of here. See you all around. It was fun. Bye-bye.
All right, Brian. Take it easy, man.
Later, Brian.
But no, I agree with you 100%, George. They've definitely got to do something. And I saw you posted something about a different result on a Zelos with the charged armor.
Yeah. A friend of mine went in with the Zelos, and he got better results with conventional armor on the Zealous rather than the charged armor.
Well, now see, that's possible because I didn't try with conventional armors. I went no armor and just the new armor.
He went
all I did.
He went for resistances, and the resistances apparently worked better. So, I don't know. I hope they come out with a test server very soon, so we can see what's going on, and they can have some time to correct any issues that they find, or that we find. I mean,
Well, they already know there's an issue. I mean, look at all the videos that are posted showing the armor not working in old targets.
I can show you a screen share of my Zelos if you want. If
And since that's already been put all over forums, put all over YouTube, put all over Facebook, they know that the charged armors are not working in any of the old targets. So there's something that is broke.
Yeah.
So and instead of being, and once again, Kixeye's doing the same thing they're always doing. They're ignoring it.
Yeah.
We're getting no response at all from Kixeye about it.
Yeah. Venom, I don't know that it would help. I mean, I would, if you had two of them and you were doing testing, like Dr. Death had done, that's what he's talking about over in the chat. I added the result of two tests, and resistances actually ended up coming out ahead, which is worrisome. I mean, again, I would like to know, because I'm at the point where I have my hydraulic resistors on all four of them. I'm in the process of putting more rockets on it, and the rest of the selection of the hull is going to be very dependent on the target, and I don't know what the damn target is.
Yeah, and if we don't get a preview server until like the week before, then that's really going to screw a lot of people, because
well, it's not only going to screw a lot of people, it's going to screw Kixeye as well, because then they're not going to have any data or data points to check to correct anything. I would expect, I wanted to see one like today and go, hey, open test server, we're going to try out some stuff, and go off on,
Yeah, because then they would have had, a few weeks to work on it, try and tune it. But see, I hate to say it, I still think, and I can break the tinfoil hat back out if I need to. I still think the reason why they're not worried about what's going on with the current tech we have is because the raid's going to be based off the skill hole we're going to get the week before the raid.
I think, I think the reason why they're letting it out the week before the raid is so that they don't have to do that. What I would expect,
but wait.
I would expect the second raid to be absolutely tuned around that hull, though.
No, wait a second. Wait a second. Here's the problem.
They did it with the
What they
Cannoneer.
do at the beginning of the last series. The raid was based off of you having the Cannoneer and the Millennium gun that came out the week before the raid.
Yeah, but they also
Millennium gun
admitted
came
they
out
made
the
a
week
mistake.
before the raid. No, they know they screwed up the release of the weapon. They've never said they screwed up the tuning of the target.
Right. No. They said they messed up on the release of the special and the weapon.
See, but they
They
tuned
said
the
they
target.
said they should have.
Right. They should have released the weapon special and the ship all at the same time.
Yep. But then
But
they also got progressively harder as the raids went on as well.
Yes.
That's why I'm saying with that coming out the week before, it's not just the weapon coming out, right? This time it's going to be the weapon, the special, and the hull. You can't rank the damn thing. I mean, I do not think that they would be that obtuse and tune the raid for something that just came out.
You're
I
giving
think
them,
they're doing it. I
you're
think they're
giving
doing
them
it
a
on
lot more
purpose.
credit than what I think they deserve.
Yeah, this is Kickstarter you're talking about here.
I'm
and
sorry.
that's-
I'm
here's the
sorry,
thing,
George.
I think that's why they're doing it, is because that way no one can take advantage of it unless they really coin. And in that case, they're not going to care because damn, that's what they want is your money. So if they tune it around the icebreaker, release the thing the week before the raid, the only people that will have any viable option of actually doing anything is going to be the people that will coin it. And it's going to be worthless without damn rank probably, right? So you can end up having to coin the rank. That's going to be what those people would probably have spent in the raid anyway, so it's a win-win. That's how I would do it. I mean, it's slick. It's a great friggin' way to solve all of it and not have to tune for that target. So you get the benefit of the players being happy that it wasn't tuned for the skill hull, right? You get the coiners that are happy because they get the skill hull and they can cruise. I mean, I think it's a brilliant idea. I don't know if they thought that far up through. I would hope they did. But
I mean, if it's tuned around the icebreakers, then the raid's going to be decent. We had a decent amount of the player base that got icebreakers. Not all of them. A lot which just got Imperiums and Zelos. But
did we ever find out how many people actually got to 120 million? Did anyone see? Do we have anybody that's watching that got around 120 million could tell us what their global position was? Because I'm kind of curious how many people.
I was over 200,000, and I was at like 4,700. So I'm not sure.
Probably less than 5,000 people got enough to get it all.
I
Yeah.
got about 105 million, and it was about 4,000, if not further down.
You had what?
105 million.
You had 105 million, and what were you global?
Below 4,000.
wow, that means maybe
So that's less
1%.
Where
No,
were you in?
that's about 10%. 4,000. If we had 40,000 people playing, that's 10%. It's only 10% of people got enough to do.
To get the icebreaker.
Yeah.
And that wasn't enough to
just
get
the
the
icebreaker.
icebreaker. Yeah, that wasn't enough to get the icebreaker weapon and special.
Right. So that's Ooh.
So if they even tune it to the icebreaker, that's still going to be a bad raid for,
A lot of
most
people.
of for most of the population.
I don't think
The
it's going to
game.
be that bad, to be honest. From what I've seen, I've been using the Zelos and the Imperium, and they're really not that bad. If you drive carefully, you're doing quite a lot of damage without taking much.
Yeah, but see, there right there is the catch. Okay, we haven't actually seen the raid. When they came out with the VXP target before the last raid series, the Centurions worked well. You know what I mean? If you had the Centurion, the Harlock Centurion, you went into that target, you could kill the 100. All right, but when the raid actually started, you couldn't even kill a CSAT with the Centurion. You see what I mean? So we can't really base how our fleets are going to do in the raid based off of the VXP target. That's the only problem we have right now.
That brings up an interesting point, and I wonder if, because these targets are going to become the FM targets, I'm wondering if maybe they have the lower levels, the B and the C set, or maybe the C set, if they make it really easy and level locked or something. That way, when it turns into the FM, low-level players like under 50 and stuff will actually have a really easy option to get in to the FM. Because, I mean, the one thing I have to say is they have absolutely acknowledged the fact that the FM is the cornerstone of this game now. I mean, you've got to be able to do it. You got to be able to participate in the FM. And, you know, the release of the Punisher and the Citadel was clear indication that they understand that now. And I'm kind of wondering, because this would be a really good chance. It's a really good opportunity to change, like, how the FM is set up, especially for smaller players.
Yeah, it would be, if they do it right.
That would, yeah. And I mean, but it's a great opportunity because, you know, if they take the time and they actually tune it and say, okay, we're going to level lock these things to X, Y, and Z or something, you know, when it transfers over into the FM, that actually would be a really good way to get people into the game very quickly. The problem, if they actually put the right prizes in the right spots.
Right, but the problem with that is if they level lock it, how many players, and we all know these, how many players are there that are out there, you know, that are level 80 plus bases, so that they're locked into the top tier for full points, that would be locked out of the lower sets, that were only able to do the lower sets last raid because they don't have the tech deck.
Maybe.
You see the problem?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there could be other options. I mean, they might be able to lock it out to say, hey, you can't use icebreakers in these targets, right? Or if you can't use, you know, like they locked the salvages, right? And they locked map targets. Why don't they go, hey, well, all right, in C sets you can't use any hull that's over, I don't know, level 4 to, you know, whatever. Just pick something, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, they did it with salvages. They might be able to do it with that. And I'd have to look at the hulls to look at the tiers, but.
But you understand what I'm saying? They can't just level lock.
Right. They can't just totally lock out players because some players just absolutely, suck. I guess I don't know. Like I know, like if you're like a level 90 and you're doing C sets, man, you're doing something wrong.
Or you're somebody that's been out of the game and came back.
Yeah. No, that one that's a perfect example. Now that one, yes, that one they got to come up with some sort of reasonable way to mitigate that bumpy road back. Yeah,
back at Christmas there. The main thing that sort of got me back into the free missions was, and the raid itself, was whenever they put out the hull and the weapon on sale just before the raid. Without that, it was failure completely. I was sitting there with, I think it was Punishers.
It was Citadels, the full build of Citadels, wasn't it? That they sold?
I think it was
the Citadel, and you got the Citadel blueprint, you got the weapon, you got the special, all for buying the blueprint, automatically put in your base. You could build as many of them as you wanted.
I want to see more of those offers. Honest to God, that was a good idea. I don't know why in the fuck they don't keep doing that.
It was the offer for, I think it was 3 Cannoneers with them being fully built, and then 6.
Oh.
It was that offer there that got the raid possible. Because the raid before that came out, I was trying to do it with Punishers, which I got through the Christmas raid, and it just wasn't happening. So for someone coming back, if they don't give you something like them deals, you're done. And I think it's just not fair for anyone coming back, for them to try and catch up.
Yeah, and that's how we're discussing it, because I mean, you know, there's got to be options. There has to be options, but they also can't just go, okay, well, we're going to make the C set really easy, and then have all of us big players splitting up our fleets of icebreakers and autoing, you know, 5, 6, 7 targets at a time. That's just dumb.
Yeah, because then none of the little guys will have a target to hit.
Yeah, so they got to do something, and if they can't level lock it, I mean, the next best thing I can think of is maybe the hull. I mean, I have no idea. But then, you know, what Garrison hulls do we have that you could throw in a C? I mean, I don't know, man. But there's got to be something. There's got to be something that they can do. You know,
Yeah, but sadly, that requires them actually putting in that extra effort to do it. And so far, we haven't seen them putting in the extra effort pretty much on anything, which is why we've been getting the crappy releases and the broken tech, and they've been ignoring videos when people are showing them something's broken. I mean, the list just keeps going on and on and on. You know what I mean? This is I have to say, VXP weekend today, this was the first bright spot I've seen in a while. They brought out a VXP target that even non-coiners could just zombie their ships, and if they put in the seat time, they can get their ship sculled. So,
the 107, you mean?
Yeah, the 101. Yeah.
101, yeah.
Yeah, 101. Yeah.
You mean in this? Yeah, in the VXP. I'm sorry. I was thinking, I thought right for a second.
Today's release of the VXP, this has been the first bright spot that I've actually seen, in a long time in this game. You know what I mean? Because the raid, I ain't got to give them a bright spot for the 107. Yes, you could zombie it, but look at how many freaking points you had to get, even if you were a coiner. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've said that the icebreaker should not have been at the price point that it was, not for a second tier hull.
Right.
But
So the raid was not a bright spot. But today, I got on and I was able to rank out my icebreakers in less than 20 minutes. And then I had little guys that don't coin at all. And I was like, okay, go do this. And, they grinded for about 4 hours and they've got sculled ships. And they're excited because now they're pulling out ships everywhere. Every ship they got in their dock, they're pulling out and running in and zombieing. They're going to be repairing for the next 3 weeks, but they're having fun and they're getting ranked. So today was a good thing Kixeye did. This was a good, whether it was intentional or not, we don't know, but it was good. It was a bright spot for the game. But I haven't seen a bright spot in a long time.
No, I think this was intentional. I think there was a lot of feedback associated with the fact that the VXP weekend was mindless, and this gives it doesn't take a lot of strategy. I mean, I think we gave people enough information on how to do it earlier on the show, but it wasn't mindless. It wasn't like, okay, just go kill your ships and you'll get your VXP. And that pissed off a lot of people. I mean, because it's just an obvious coin grab, and I don't think a lot of people like that. And so yeah, I do agree. It was a good move. Maybe a better, because I think I like the Legion Assault 80 targets for a while, where you could tank something and you could do some of that stuff here, where you can tank with one target, like if you're trying to level up your oppressors or something of that nature, where you can tank with one thing, use remote targeting, and level up your ships, because you're getting VXP associated with damage done. So, I don't know. Do we have much more to broadcast, or should we go to the after show?
No, I think we're what, 2 hours in? I think we've done good.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. All righty.
No, I think I'll be dropping off now as well.
Okay. All righty. Let me see if I can find where the.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it'll take you a half an hour to find the button to kill the show.
Well, it took me like 2 minutes last time.
Yeah, more like 10 minutes at least.
Yeah, well, whatever. So, Holst, you got anything else to say?
Nothing here.